Ladies and gentlemen, the left is so desperate, now they're pushing Mike Pence for president. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of The Dan Dawson Show. So, do you want to see how desperate the left is? Because they know they can't win. This next election, they've made such a bundle of everything with their dumbass policies. If you'll excuse me, I'm still sick, I'm on the mend, but so I'm not going to be as bombastic as I usually am. They want to push Mike Pence for president. Let's read this article, shall we? It's from The Hill, of course. Michael D. Cohen is a known hater of Republicans. Actually, I'm not even going to read the whole article. In fact, you know what? Let's just take the article down. Let me talk to you. So what the left wants to do now is push people like Mike Pence, who are soft and, I hate to say this, I'm going to say it, I hate to say it, vanilla, for president. You know why they want to? Because Mike Pence, like typical Republicans, lifelong Republican, Mike Pence isn't going to do shit. He's not going to repeal the ATF. He will not repeal mask mandates, which actually I think by the next election, it won't even be a thing. He's not going to prosecute Fauci, who should be prosecuted. He's not going to do what the left has done. See, because they went on the attack. Let me take this hat off, people. He's went on the attack. Or the left has, right? And they know Pence won't do that. Because Pence is a go along, get along type of dude. They do not, whatever happens, want somebody like Trump or DeSantis or Abbott even. They don't want that. Because those guys are going to bring fire. Could you imagine what Donald Trump is going to do once he wins the 2024 election? He's going to burn house and home. Just is what it is. So that article from The Hill, which is completely left, tells you they've admitted defeat. Yeah, you've lost. Your policies have lost. So what they want to do is bring in somebody like Pence, who's not going to do anything. And then they have time to rebuild. They have 4 years to rebuild. I'm sorry. The American people have seen the wickedness of your ways. Look what we got now. The homeless problem is out of control. The borders are secured. You have people ODing in South Texas at an astronomical rate. You know why? Because where I stay, you're only a few hours from the border. And there's all kind of drugs coming through the border. You have Canadian truckers shutting down major cities in Canada. You have U.S. truckers joining them. And I know people thought I was joking, but I said a long time ago, we should just make Canada and Mexico part of the United States, make them states, chop them up, do whatever we got to do, and just make it one big entire country. You have Second Amendment haters like Bitch Boy Beto O'Rourke changing their stance on the Second Amendment. I'm not trying to take anybody's guns. I don't want to take anything from anybody. You're a liar. Sorry, you're just trying to get into office. You're not going to win governor of Texas. You are a piece of shit. You don't need an AR-15 to hunt hogs. You're right. You need an AR-10. So the AR-15 is the .223. Basically, it's a .22 rifle round, right? The AR-10 is a 308. It's very big round. These hogs are very big. Not only that, you have to protect your family from the people who Beto O'Rourke, who grew up in El Paso, young bitch ass boy, who when I was a child, when we rode through El Paso, when my dad was a trucker, I told you the story. He would get out to get gas or go get us something to eat. Me and my little sister Sandra, right? And he would always say, if somebody opens the door, he'd hand me his 38. He said, somebody opens the door, you shoot. You shoot. That's how bad it was before they built the wall. But no, didn't want that for anybody else. We have gotten to a point to where legislators, our representatives, get broken into by Capitol Hill police dressed in construction uniforms. Now, here's what they fear. That act alone is an act of treason and sedition, because you're not allowed to do that. If I send a letter to my congressman, that's private. But they're opening letters and they're reading them. They're breaking in on weekends and holidays. And this just came out. So when you do that, that's called treason. You're no longer serving the people. And when you don't serve the people react. See, here's the issue. How do I put this? I'm trying to think of a way to put this. You can push as much as you want to. But Nancy Pelosi and the Capitol Hill police already told you they were dirty. They're very dirty. And now they're worried about civil war. You don't have to worry about it. It's here. It's happening right now. Right now. And people like Nancy Pelosi, the Squad, Maxine Waters, they call for all this violence, then they go and hire private security. You know what? I'm not a violent man. I'm a very nice man. I often like to say, oops, put my hat back on. I'm super nice. If you ever meet me in person, I am super nice. Until I'm not anymore. Until I decide not to be nice. And trust me, I'll decide not to be nice way before you decide to get violent. We have BLM running through the streets, burning shit down. This is ridiculous. Running through the streets. Now, you notice after the Democrats got in power, you don't hear much from BLM. Yet, January 6th people are being kept in solitary confinement. You don't believe me? Go watch Temple episode where one of the Proud Boys, the leader, Enrique, is talking about the conditions they had to live in for months. So for me, it's like, hire your private security, do whatever you want to do. I've spent my life, I've been in a lot of violent situations. A lot. I've never needed private security. Honestly, I might have to run for office. I just might have to do it. Just to slap somebody in the face. And then remember, after January 6th, the Squad and Nancy Pelosi and Maxine Waters came out. We're afraid of our own constituents here. Not constituents, colleagues. Because, they might pose a danger to us, but this is what they do. They talk a big game, then they run back like, I hate to say the word. And this is not a disparaging comment towards women. It has nothing to do with women. Because there were men that did it too. Remember the Capitol Hill police officer that cried under investigation? It's like you're supposed to be one of the toughest people in the world. And you're crying. They talk a big game, want to start a fight, and then act like bitches. So I act like a bitch all day. I'm cool with that. Do it. It's ridiculous, though. Ridiculous. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to make a sweatshirt that says that's ridiculous. But this is what they do. And look what we are now. We're at the highest inflation rate since 1982. Gas is out of control. Your food prices are out of control. Truckers are striking. I come from a family of truckers. My older brother's a trucker, is a trucker. My dad was a trucker before he became a mechanic. My little brother's a trucker. I have various friends who are truckers. You don't fuck with truckers. Those are tough people. They do things me and you couldn't do. Perfect example. When I moved back down here to Texas, I had to drive 3 cars down. My Expedition, my Cadillac, and the wife's car. After the Expedition, I was telling my older brother, like, fuck this. 3,000 miles in 4 days? He was like, I do that every week. Then I flew back a month later, drove the Cadillac down. 3,000 miles. Flew back maybe a couple of weeks later, drove the wife's car down. And my older brother was like, get your CDL. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that. He's like, why? It's great money. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not with all that driving. These are hard people. I just the other day met a lady in her 70s. She was a trucker. And she drives from Texas to Florida. Great lady. Really fun to talk to. It's just in the blood. They're tough people. Now, I like to think I'm tough. I've done things most people will never do in their life. Never. I've been to countries you will never go to. But truckers, that's a whole different thing. I love the truckers. And now look, Justin Trudeau went into hiding because he's afraid of the truckers. He should be. But then they're going to accuse him of vandalism, murderous threats. But just last year, you went out and marched with BLM, who were actually doing those things. I haven't seen a trucker go take over a federal building. I haven't seen the truckers pulled up to whatever the Canadian capital is and surround it and then go in and beat people up. But I've seen BLM do it. I've seen BLM in Seattle literally try to kill police officers. I haven't seen truckers do that. I haven't seen the blue blood of this nation do anything like that. No, I've seen the spoiled, entitled, rich kids do that. And it doesn't matter if they're black or white, but for the record, most of them are white. Do that. Because they can. Because mommy and daddy are paying the bills. Out here in real America, we have to get up every day, whether you're sick or not, and work for your dollar. That's what we have to do. We have no intentions of ceding any piece of ground to you. It is what it is. Even sick, I still fed the cows, chickens, and hogs. Even sick, and that's why I couldn't do videos for a few days. But anyway, I was just done by the end of the day. But we're workers. See, that's the thing. When our founding fathers wrote the Constitution, they understood what this country was going to be built on. And it was workers. It wasn't pieces of shit who sat in their little apartments, their little $3,000 a month apartments in New York, writing bullshit articles. It was people like me and you who are going to get out there, fight the fight, and do the work. That's why the Constitution is what it is. That's why they want to get rid of it. Nancy Pelosi has already been on record trying to restrict your First Amendment rights. I believe you can say whatever you want to say. I honestly do. You can say, hey, Dan, I hate your fucking hat. Which, if you hate this hat, you have no taste in hats. But that is what it is. I believe you have a right to carry whatever weapon you want. And this is where I disagree with the whole Tim Pool thing. The one guy is always bringing up, well, should citizens be allowed to own nuclear weapons? Fucking yeah. You can own any weapon you want. It's your right. Because I believe like this, right? If you're smart enough and you have enough stock in that you can afford a nuclear weapon, you're not going to use it. You know why? Because you have more to lose than I do. I can't afford a nuclear weapon. But you should be able, if you want a fully automatic assault rifle, you should be allowed to have a fully automatic assault rifle. Damn, what is his name on Tim Pool? I can't even remember. Anyway, those things have been pissing me off. And I just want to get on here, and I appreciate you guys. I really love my subscribers. This is kind of therapy for me, but it has to get out there. You should be able to say whatever you want. You should be able to pack any weapon you want. Soldiers should not be quartered in your house during peacetime. Just stuff like that in the Constitution. And then, let me talk about the abortion issue. For me, abortion's always been kind of a cloudy thing. Do I think it's morally right? I don't. Do I think it's constitutionally right? I don't think the Constitution applies. So when the Supreme Court came out and said, hey, this is a state's issue. This is a state's issue. I agreed. Because I'm not going to get in your business. I don't care. It's not my business. Not that I don't care. It's just not my business. So I say out of stuff that's not my business. Sorry, guys, I'm sick. So the thought process is off. But let's break it down. I think we talked about everything I wanted to talk about. We talked about Francis, Second Amendment, First Amendment. Oh, vaccine mandates. YouTube is surely going to strike this one. So, if you don't see this, I'm not even going to talk about it. Here's what I'll do. I'll make a whole separate video on Rumble about vaccine mandates. That's what I'm going to do. So, and I do these videos off the top of my head. So, you know. But like, subscribe, share, and as always, especially in these days and times, keep your powder dry and do what you got to do.